Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the Earth Summit for having us here, and it's a privilege to be moderating such esteemed guests from different verticals. Myself, I'm Rahul Raghavendra. I run a company called Infinitum Network, which works extensively with creators, publishers across the country, where we create content in multiple domains, in multiple verticals or multiple platforms. So today, while we are at it, I'm sort of I love the way how the whole idea of building Bharat's next generation of brands for rural is. I mean, discussing about that is quite a privilege because I think 2 days back we were having something called Google Impact Summit in Delhi, where the Union Minister for Culture, Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, he said something quite interesting. I think I at the outset with that I would want to sort of start the conversation. He said, India, I mean, brands and the people who basically come from the finance background and who has been building products in the current generation, they call India, they make India fragmented into India 1, India 2, India 3, wherein we call it tier 1 cities, tier 2 towns, tier 3 villages and all. But interestingly, even the Google Asia Pac head was also there at that time. And Gajendra Singh Shekhawat said one interesting thing. He said, now, I think there are no boundaries in this country. There is, of course, for us to demarcate, products, demarcate services, we can, call India 1, India 2, India 3. But someone sitting in Mizoram is able to impact someone's life sitting out of Andhra Pradesh. Someone who is basically sitting out of US is able to cater to someone's growth in say tier three village of Kerala. Say, for example, there are certain institutions called Khan Academy came out of Bangladesh, and then there are institutions within India as well, which basically Super 30 out of 30, which is Hritik's film, is based out of someone who started off the same way. I think at this point of time, the boundaries are blurred thanks to the digital ecosystem, which is only getting larger and bigger. So my first question is to Puneet. You understand, I mean, you have been in this space for quite a long time, and then when we say building Bharat, building rural Bharat with digital and next gen brand building, when you are in a commodity market or something which is basically a daily heritage foods, right? So one of the very large reputed dairy brands in the country. How do you look at it? The way how brands are being built now, and you basically coming from a brand which is traditionally a commodity, but now you also have to match and catch up to the digital ecosystem. So there is a certain messaging which you otherwise do traditionally, but on digital, will the same message work, or how do you navigate in building your brand to the next level?
I think, first of all, thank you, Earth Summit, for having all of us here. I'm personally delighted to be here. When we look at any category or any brand or any market, fundamentals of marketing don't change. So what I mean by that is, I think whether you are a heritage foods or you are a Amul or you are anything else, Hindustan Unilever, you're all looking at building brands within a consumer set. So you have to identify your consumer set, which is we call it segmentation, classic segmentation, right? Once we have the segment identified, then it's about building the right product, the right communication, and reaching out to them in that sense, in that sense, and in that order, right? So what we have done here at Heritage Foods is we were as a company primarily known for our milk and curd, and people from Hyderabad will relate to it, right? So we were known for our milk and curd, but last 5 years or so, we've actually started to boost our value-added products portfolio. And that's where a lot of new products have been launched, and to promote those products, a lot of new initiatives in terms of communication, whether it's a digital communication or TV communication, have been done. So it's not, again, the choice of media, whether it's digital or TV or newspaper or outdoor, is based on the objective. So for us, fundamentally, we rely a lot on digital because digital allows us very specific targeted niches to be reached out to. I'll give you one example actually, and which links back to what we are trying to do for Bharat. So we we realized that people are looking for milk that is the same milk which used to be available in villages long back, because the purity parameters of milk are still holding strong. As far as milk from village is concerned, people are still used to that milkman coming and delivering at home. We realized that, and we have been doing so. We've got 3 lakh farmers on board, and we get all the milk from villages. So we said, why not build it as a separate brand altogether? And we launched something called as Heritage Sampurna. Now, Sampurna is a word which cuts across, South India, East India, West India, North India. So we introduced something called as Sampurna, which is basically pure milk from the village. That's the proposition, and which has started to do well. And the reason is because we are talking about purity, which is same as what it used to be and what it is from village. So those are some examples where we can really target, the consumer and create a product and the brand on top of it. So I think where India is lacking per se is nothing else. We have good products, we have good brands, good brains. Where we lack is the marketing prowess, which is where the branding and communication and all those things, come to the fore. So that's my 2 bits about it, actually.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So my next question is to Mr. Vijay. Century Mattresses, one of the widely well-known mattresses company. So just as a follow-up to that, anything, say, in any brand which is probably a high involvement decision making, which involves high involvement, something like mattresses, which probably you'd only buy once in 5 years or once in, I know for some people it's once in a lifetime. I mean, in rural, it is highly unorganized in its own way. They have unorganized sectors, and you also have a lot of community level, entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs who basically come into this market. So how do you build a brand like, say, a mattress, and make it organized even in a rural, outside?
So, firstly, yes, very high involved, customer purchase journey when it comes to mattress. Average maybe 5 to 7 years is when anybody look at it. And the big challenge is that, including you in your home, when you go, first you want TV, your living room and anything. Mattress is always covered under a blanket. So really nobody thinks of mattress first as a change in the home. That's the biggest challenge what industry carries. But after COVID, the realization among the Indian consumers has come, not only Indian as well as global also, because now work from home has become a pattern, especially in the IT industry. People spending a lot of time, in their homes, and mattress has become a key part. Why? Because today you work so hard, we work so hard. Gone are those 8 9 hours to 14 hours we are working. For what we do, we go back home to have a good sleep, and that is the most costliest thing today. Nobody gets it, and this level of stress is increasing day by day. So how urbanization is expanding, how development is expanding from metros to tier 1 to tier 3. Similarly, thanks to all of us, we are expanding the stress levels from metro to tier 2. We are expanding all the ill things for mankind there. So there, the unbranded segment, like you said, today the industry 50% is the unbranded segment and 50% is the branded players. But due to the realization among the consumers understanding the importance and sleeps, the unbranded segment cannot provide the technology what a branded mattress provides. And like said, high involvement purchase and long durability. So when you are purchasing it for 5 6 years at a span mattress, you need that technology to be there, and you need that comfort, because today your weight is different, my weight is different. Maybe I'm very fatty among everybody, so I need a different mattress. Oh, somebody young like Prashant, very handsome, maybe want bouncy mattress. He loves bounce. So everybody's requirement is different. And talking about Bharat and see, we mattress core made from coir, the earlier mattresses. So that is the natural product coming from the rural India. All our units, Century mattresses units are from Chegunta, Medak, which is again the rural Bharat. And if you look at mattress, the fabric, we stick allied products like, you have pillows, access, everything. So majority of my workforce is women. So here, also the very important part in terms of digitization when we talk about it. Today, maybe I say this mattress is good, maybe Puneet don't agree with me. But somebody residing next to them says this mattress is good. That's where the influencer come in picture. Today we are 140 plus crores of population. How come government or anybody can provide? Maybe brands like Heritage or Century, any other brands. That's where the self-employment comes up, self-groups comes up. So where, today the influencer has itself become an industry. You got influencers from, grassroots level at the rural market. And also, earlier also there was scope of, development there. But access to marketing was not there. Today, thanks to, your UPIs, your 5Gs, it has helped a lot for them to grow global.
Makes sense. Thanks a lot for the insight. So, as a follow-up, Prashant, congratulations, by the way, for the Ixigo's acquisition of Abhibus. So, I'm sure you are already, if not, you are already a customer or a consumer of Century mattresses, but now you will have to buy one because he also gave you a preference of mattresses. So, and Heritage Milk, of course, yeah, Heritage Milk. Sorry to discount that. So Prashant, my question is, at this point of time, we were also discussing before joining in this, the more session, is that currently there is a blast of content across different platforms. As we speak, every second on a platform like YouTube, there are 150 hours of content is getting published. And you see a lot of noise as well. And there is also a bigger problem is when you have, yours is a completely a tech product. So you have a lot of noise, you have a lot of content. How do you align your marketing spends, or how do you align your messaging while you are at it, where you trigger the right consumers, or how do you, what do you think would actually fly with, say, a person who comes from a tier 3 rural city and rural village, and then has to become your user. So what exactly is your your team's plan in terms of how do you align between all this noise?
So typically what I have observed.
Yeah.
So typically what I've observed, across my career is that usually when we try to make content, and we actively advertise both for the urban markets, tier 1 as well as tier 2 and beyond. Because, we are primarily, as you know, we sell trains, buses and flights. Flights is very urban centric, and as well as buses is very tier 2 and beyond. So when we make the content, what we have seen is that the urban market or tier 1 market ideally looks for aspiration in the communication we make. So they try to look for something beyond basic utility that is there. Like they just don't usually look for basic bus travel, but they look for something which is beyond basic bus travel. Like what's the comfort? What am I getting by traveling or picking this particular platform or any other platform? What additional insights or data are they able to provide me to make me choose to make an informed decision for me to choose a bus? Versus when we do in tier 2 and beyond. So for them, I think creating more relatable content for them, that is more key. Otherwise, they would not be able to understand what's the basic problem. Because like, for example, sitting in Hyderabad, I might be traveling in bus twice in a month maybe. But sitting in tier 2, for them, the travel in buses might be very limited and very occasional when they reach out to the city, or, it's very limited travel. So for them, basically getting access to a bus travel is the primary thing they look out to. But for me, who travel regularly, I keep looking at, is it a Volvo bus? Is it a regular bus? What is the kind of comfort I get? Because for me, I'm traveling more often obviously my preferences for how I travel is also changing. So I feel that for tier 2 and beyond, making relatable content that at least we are trying to tell that at the comfort of sitting at your home, for example, you are able to make a bus booking in a very simple and fast way. And secondly, because we are in digital product, while the internet penetration is crazy good at today's day, even in the tier 2 and beyond, I feel there are more internet users in tier 2 and beyond than in the metros. But the problem is with the data that they have access to. Like if I release an app which is almost, let's say, 500 MB, most of them wouldn't even download because it would consume majority of the data pack that they would have for the day. So it is also important for me to make sure that my app is very fast on slow networks or average networks. At the same time, the access to having the app on their phone, because the devices might not be as expensive as what we see in tier 1 and urban. So ideally, we should have our apps to be very concise, very small, and at the same time, very, very responsive and very fast on slow networks. So this is what we try to solve, and we try to communicate for the tier 2, where we try to say basic utility is provided with the best experience possible. And for the tier 1 and urbans, we try to tell about what's additional leverage you can have from the platform in terms of choosing your best transport medium that is available.
Makes sense. Totally. So next is AJ, Jude. I think it's a good thing to have a creator in between us, so that you can also sort of whatever I'm going to ask, and the moment you answer, it is also a pitch for the brands which are sitting right next to you. So AJ, I mean, quite well known in the YouTube, in the YouTube platform, and also you're known for fashion. You're known for your strong opinions on multiple aspects. And at this point of time, I think influencers. I think usually we sort of use it as an overarching word, influencer. But honestly, a key opinion leader probably would be a right term which we can use. However, we could see lately in the last 4 to 5 years that the number of people who probably wanted to become a creator has increased. At this point of time, on a platform like YouTube, there are close to about 2.5 lakh creators who are contributing to almost 16,000 crores of revenue to Indian GDP. So YouTube actually added 16,000 crores, and that only happens largely through creators. So now creators / key opinion leaders / influencers, I think anyone who is able to sort of put their opinion forward and then have audience for that and then create a community is something which is probably one of the most beautiful things to happen to the country and the world. And there are few people who use it in the right manner to influence people in the right direction. And there are also a certain type of fringe elements where you see a lot of, a lot of spams, scams, financial frauds, which keep happening under the disguise of influencers as well. There's a lot of fraud, and hence you see this. I don't know whether I can say this. HDFC has launched something called Vigilante campaign, which is largely targeted towards the fraud which is happening in the banking sector, or people who are basically. So in every sector, there is gaming, there is food. You also had this one huge issue of paneer being, we were just talking about it, adulterated and all. So now influencers / KOLs have become an integral part of our lives. You are now a commodity, and congratulations for that. So how do you look at, say, the moment you create content and when you create branded content? What exactly is your message to your audience? Do you want them to watch your content and you want your brands to be happy? Or you want to make money and ensure that everyone is basically not calling you back and saying that, oh, this is not a right product, and the brand calling saying that your engagement rate is not good. You have to sort of give me one more video. How do you look at engagements? Because without brands, your revenues fall. Without revenues, you can't make content. So it is a vicious loop. How do you navigate?
Rahulji, this is a very, very tough question to start with, but the numbers that you're telling, the revenue that the creators are making, it's mad. But that's when your own self-imposed restrictions come into play. How you are as a human being, that comes into play when you're selecting the categorical brands, what you want to work, which brands you want to work with, you know, how you want to message it, because a lot of brands, they want to give us, make us do claims that are not unreal. Then you have to navigate. You can't tell everything that the brand asks you to do. But if you're aligning yourself with a great brand, then your brand also improves, because you're telling me that I'm also a brand when I'm on social media. So if I have to retain the level that I've reached, I have to work with brands that have already been there, you know. These are the things that I keep in mind. But having said that, as a creator, I have a strong feeling that the rural segment, the tier 2, tier 3, is hugely untapped from the perspective of how the apps are created. As in, it's not customized to reach the, you know, the grassroots level of tier 3 and tier 2. That's what I feel. If you just see YouTube in general also, I get this feeling. I make videos for a living. I give opinions. I do cultural commentary. I have a decent following. I make good money. I'm happy about it. No complaints there.
Tell the number.
No, I'm not. But having said all of that, I still feel there's a huge untapped potential where I am not able to reach the complete grassroots guy sitting in like the tier 3 city, you know. Structural changes and structural reforms need to come from the government, as in to customize it to the real crowd. Because when there are brands, there are great brands here. There is Heritage, there is Century Mattress, there is Red Bus, there is Apollo. Abhibus. Sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
This is not being recorded.
Yeah, thank you. So my point being, even these people, when they really have to reach, the app or the medium has to be in such a level that it has to reach all the people. Even they'll be facing the issue that I'm talking about. But there are people who are watching me, but still I feel for it to be, you know, categorical, like a puzzle piece that hits where I want to reach, I still feel there are fundamental problems that I see, you know. That's where I feel the issue is. When it comes to brands also, even if there's a good brand, I'd love it to go to Tadepalligudam or a Rajahmundry or even a tier 3 place, a person sitting there. But I feel that person interacting with this app might not be the most ideal way. He's interacting, but even in a better format, it has to be launched. Then that real untapped potential will, you know, blow up. The market that is not yet erupted is what I feel in terms of the revenue generation digitally.
Lovely. That's great insights. So my next question, of course, is to Nishant Mishra from Apollo. I'm pretty sure. I think AJ is still trying to reach to the tier 3, and few areas where the platform is still yet to push you. However, there is this one brand called Apollo, which is like everywhere at this point of time, and they are growing leaps and bounds, and it's not just digitally, but physically. So Nishant, I mean, at this point of time, I'm sure Apollo has mastered the entire space of what I can say as creating micro satellite clinics / diagnostics, everything related from preventive healthcare to healthcare in general. My question to you is, what sort of awareness is that needed on digital when it comes to rural towns, rural villages? Because I'm pretty sure even in the audience, all of us are learned men, and even we have our own if I may say skews and biases about health. Maybe the sisters or the wives would be saying that you have to go to the doctor because there's this one issue, and we would be saying, no, I'm very good, I am my own doctor, don't believe doctors. There's a lot of noise in healthcare as well, and you also see a lot of content related to health which is being published on platforms, and people consume everything. And most of the times the rural population probably who have the disposable time but no disposable income are the ones who are being affected by content which probably is not in the right direction, if I may say. So how is Apollo as a brand is trying to not just influence their thought process in taking the right decision, but also advocating what exactly is right to the people.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, my fellow panelists. Thank you so much for praising the brand that I work for. And yeah, the endeavor is to reach to as many people as possible. So as I'm sitting next to a influencer, I would start by saying that we had one of our biggest influencers, which comes possibly every 100 years working for us some time back, which was the COVID. And I'm sure it has given everybody a nudge to look what's happening inside you. So that's something that's really propelled us largely in terms of understanding that people do need a nudge at times. Incidentally, the moment COVID actually hit us, just few months prior, we launched our largest digital initiative of Apollo 247 app. And it coincided, and we were able to actually serve millions of people through a simple thing called testing. And see, it always starts from understanding what to test and when to test. So when you're saying that people are usually getting led by influencers in terms of taking decisions on self-treatment, while that may be as per the discretion of every individual, but you do need to seek opinion. Because when you have a medicinal practice around you and you've got access to good doctors, and that's what eventually 247 app and Apollo clinics are doing, that we are trying to make healthcare accessible. Because if you see incidence of diabetes is growing, it's no fun saying that we are going to be the diabetes capital of the world. We'll have highest number of people having hypertension. So all these usually are avoidable because they are lifestyle based. However, the ignorance part usually takes over in all of us when we start taking it lightly. Any of the products and the biggest brands which are around me, people go to heritage foods for their products, but they are always aware of what they're taking inside, because in terms of nutritional content, what does it have? Whether the mattress gives me good sleep or not, because sleep is essential for health. Whether my anxiety is curtailed because I have a booking in hand, right, through the Abhibus app. So all these, everywhere, health is on the periphery always. So the idea would always be for everybody, I would say that seek the right advice from the right advisor. Don't try and experiment too much, because once you have access to the best healthcare, journey will become easier. Secondly, something has imploded in our hands through that handset that you all hold today. Our teledensity is beyond par, right? We all have access to our handsets. Through that, you can just try and tap into the learned world, where people are, even our channels which are there, people do and often talk about lots of new age issues, saying that my parents never experienced these sorts of anxiety issues. How come I am experiencing? And parents cannot actually give you an answer for that because they never had it in their lifestyle, in their lifetimes. So these things which are happening very first time to our generation, for that you do require a good healthcare advisor, provider, which are the doctors essentially. Apollo is basically nothing but the army of the best doctors available. You need to seek good advice and the right advice, and obviously at the right time. Digital has made it possible. We have the app, and it's a multilingual one. So even when we go into tier 2, tier 3 towns, people will find it easier. Today, as Abhibus was saying, the gentleman was saying that the app has to be light. That's also because of the fact that the phones which are being there in rural, they don't have that much memory. So you'll require lighter apps so the platform can be utilized. So all in all, the best part is that we have the infra available. We now need to reach out to through the right set of people using influencers. We are in fact partnering with lots of FMCG brands today, like we partnered with HUL for vitamin D testing in women. Vitamin D is a big lack, in all of us today because of the kind of setups that we have. So all this is basically to amplify the right healthcare behavior. And that would always be the endeavor of Apollo.
Great. That's lovely insight. So I would want to make this a little more interactive in the second round, wherein I would want one person from the audiences who probably hails from a tier 3 village or a town. Does anyone? Yeah. I mean, you can just tell from there. Where are you coming from? Madanapalli. So from Rayalaseema, Madanapalli. Okay. So thank you very much. Now my question is to Vijay. So we have a friend here who is coming from Madanapalli, who happens to be a Telugu-speaking person,
Yes.
gentleman, who now is also definitely a consumer of mattresses.
Hope so.
So
Yeah.
my question is, as a brand, how do you deliver your message for someone coming from say a town, a tier 2, tier 3 ke beech mein, I mean it'll be between that. How do you come up with the messaging for the brand? Because at any given point of time, we are sitting in Hyderabad, and most of the times what essentially happens is that a brand which is sitting out of Mumbai or Delhi, they believe that entire south is one. अरे सारे मद्रासी लोग हैं, अंदर तमिल वाले, everyone they don't understand the cultural nuances. Say for example, someone who is coming from sir, you please sit. Sorry, someone who is coming from say Delhi would never understand the nuances of what happens within say Andhra Pradesh, or which kind of content flies, what sort of lingo works. There is a lot of unlearning which is needed by a lot of people who are sitting at the CMO level, because India, as we know, India is a very diverse country, and diversity is what makes India the most prolific country as well. So Vijay, my question is, how will you align your messaging of say giving comfort but also making it culturally relevant for the end user?
Very relevant question in today's scenario. So this question is not only for me but for all the panelists here, including the content creator. How you will be relevant to the the real Bharat. There is two things. One is India and one is Bharat. Probably my brother from Madanapalli is from the real Bharat. So as a CMO, as a head of marketing, this is very important. Okay, see, going hyperlocal, going vernacular, your communication cannot be same to other, because you like dal. We were discussing, with Puneet. Paneer doesn't go so much in South as it goes in Delhi or as it goes in Punjab, because they eat lot of roti, chapati. We eat lot of rice and paneer don't go hand in hand. So you need to understand these cultural differences, not only on the perspective of communication, on the perspective of consumer behavior. When I say consumer behavior is not in the cycle when he starts the purchase journey. Consumer behavior is his daily lifestyle. Most of the marketers do a big mistake, is that they try to fit the brand in the purchase cycle. I feel that is not the right way of doing it. I feel you need to fit your brand towards the lifestyle, towards the daily lifestyle of that consumer, where if your language plays a very big role, because that is where you connect with them. Last time in Chennai, I was one of the panel speaker with the same IMA initiative. I don't take the name of the bank. There was one bank panelist, CMO sitting next to me, we were discussing. They launched an app for rural, for getting loans. And surprisingly, they see no activity happening, and whatever the targets there, they were way behind. Their app was light. Everything was said. And they even made vernacular with the local, all 5 states, different language. Still it did not happen. Why? Because they were giving small loans to farmers. Now when they did the research, they understood that they don't even know how to open the app, and even if it is in Telugu, he can't use it. You can't blame them. We should get into their daily life. So what they bought, speech with voice control. They did the app. Then it was boom. Everybody was using it. So understanding not only at a one communication language perspective, but entire the lifestyle of that individual customer, from where he comes, is the core essence. That's what the great Piyush Pandey, no more the great legend, who understands the marketing from that core aspect. I think that is very important in brand communication.
Interesting. That's very well articulated statement. So just as, understanding the communication, and also in India, as you rightly told, currently almost 300 million people are consuming content in vernacular, which is in their own languages, and hence you see also an advent of lot of applications which are basically content based, whereas there is a company called Stage OTT, which is an OTT platform built only for dialects like Haryanvi, Rajasthani, Bhojpuri. Just like that, even in Telugu, there are micro content sites coming, because content, as we know, is now being viewed and consumed in their own languages. So my question to Puneet is basically, you are a brand which is basically in commodities, and most of the times when you're in a commodity market, it is only going to be cost play, and I don't know how much brand play would be actually relevant in a rural setup. But when you are communicating about a certain commodity in rural markets where there is already a cooperative setups which are basically made, how do you think that people would trust your brand compared to whom probably they know from their next street giving them milk, or next street they are giving their daily products? How do you think your vernacular communication, being a national brand, help in brand building in a rural setup?
No, I think it stems from the same point which Vijay was making. It's about the culture, understanding the culture, right? So when you look at different segments, rural is nothing but it's a different segment of consumers. So their mindsets are different. The way they live lives is different. The conveniences available to them are different. The pace of life itself is different. So their lifestyles are so much more different than the lifestyle, say, in a metro or a tier 1 town. So rural versus town itself is a big lifestyle gap. They are primarily very agri-centric. Now, in a category like dairy, fundamentally, the way the progression has happened, all the packet dairy players or the branded dairy players have had a good hold in metros. So in metro, for example, now milk is almost 90-95% of the households are using packet milk. Because of convenience, because of trust and quality and everything, right? Availability, most importantly. In tier 2, that ratio is around 60%. That means 40% are still using the milkman milk. But if I go to rural, actually that's where I'm sourcing my milk from. So they don't buy me there. I mean, they don't need it, because next door they have their own farm and they have their own neighbor having a farm. So they just buy from there. I think so. From dairy perspective, I think it is not building for Bharat. It is actually building from Bharat. So there are lots of brands which have come up in the recent time. I can give you example of Organic Mandia. Now Mandia is a town between Mysore and Bangalore. It's a small town, a very hardcore Kannada belt actually. But from there are lots of organic brands which are coming up, right? There are lots of farm brands which are coming up from rural, and they're selling to urban people like us who actually crave for going back to the roots and get the same experience that our predecessors had before 60 years, 70 years back. So that is where I think the opportunity lies for all of us here. If you're entrepreneurs, then please look for opportunity how you can market the rural produce, the rural artifacts, the rural art and craft, the rural products. Market back to people in cities. I can tell you people are waiting for it actually. And that's the explosion which is happening. So for me, this is reversing itself on its head, saying that it's not for Bharat, but from Bharat. And these are opportunities which are available nowadays to all of us.
Great, brilliant point. I think creating from Bharat to Bharat is a brilliant point, and I want Prasanth you are someone who basically built an application, a business and a brand from ground up. So I'm not sure whether you are from tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3, but if you are in the shoes of, say, let me say the chappal of tier 3, student who basically came out of college, +2, and then has probably aspirations to become one of the next big brand, in the entire country. What is your guide? Say there are few people here. What would be your 3 pointers, or maybe 4 if they are? How do you think someone from a tier 3 who has aspirations to become someone big in this country, and we have seen many stories like that which happened, and there are multiple role models in this country. So what would be your statement? Because I think I'm sure lot of people here are are coming from such tier 2, tier 3 places, because Andhra and Telangana is full of tier 2, tier 3 and highly educated state. So now that education is taken care of, how can entrepreneurship in brand building for someone coming from tier 2, tier 3, where accessibility is a question, how do they build?
So I think the first point, I mean, for any budding entrepreneur should be what is the problem that they're trying to solve. So if that problem is very well tested, like if you think that there is a problem, instead of directly jumping on it, maybe do stress test with at least, let's say, people from different geographies to try to understand, is this really a problem that only I am facing or people around me are facing, or is it a larger level problem that there is a sizable market that I can address based on this? So that is the first point that I would say where you have to understand. Second is that once you fix on the problem that needs to be solved, second thing is, who are the consumers of this problem? Like if you solve this problem, who are the people who are trying to get to this? So if they want to buy this, or if you want to sell them this solution, so who are these customers? What are their usual behavior be like? What are the insights that you get from these customers on how big is the problem for them and how are you addressing that as a solution to them? So ideally, so for example, in problems, we'll have a lot of problems on a daily basis, but not all the problems need a solution. Most of the problems we can always live with. But the problem also needs to be considerably mentally torment enough for the customer that they would subscribe to the solution that you're trying to sell. So that would be the second part, where trying to understand the severity of the problem and how amicable is the solution for those customers in order to buy into that, right? And the third thing is, once you fix on the problem and fix on the customer you want to go to understand them, third thing is, how do you reach to this customer? So because again, you might be today in tier 2 and tier 3, but all of your customers might be part of the urban metro. So the nuances of how people think and how people live between the geographies are very different. Like for example, even within metros, a person living in Bangalore lives very differently to a person living in Mumbai. The pace of life, or the pace, I mean, the activities, daily activities surrounding them, all of these things will be very, very different. So ideally, we also need to understand while reaching out to these customers, how do you center your product around their daily lifestyle? That also would be a very crucial part for you to promote it very at the right moment and at the right place for them to be able to consume it. Otherwise, we get lost in the clutter very easily, and there'll never be a second chance for us to even trying to reach out to these customers again. So I feel these are the three major parts. Also, we all learn in the MBA also on the same lines on try to understand what is the problem customer as well as how do you want to promote it. These are the three main pillars I would think are very keen to build a big brand that is necessary. If the fundamentals are very strong, I don't think there is any competition that can come near you at all.
I hope future entrepreneurs sitting in this room are noting these points, and if someone has anything to conflict with any of the points, please, you can raise the hand. I hope no one wants to conflict. It's okay. So next question is to, of course, Nishant. I'll come back to AJ in a while. So Nishant, you at Apollo would definitely be looking into data from different cities, towns, wherein you deal with multiple demographics, age groups, and also certain type of behavior patterns. So say in case if I'm talking about someone from a tier 2 town who visits Apollo and engages with you, what do you think gives them the reason to come to you? Of course, you're now a brand. Say, for example, if it's not Apollo, if it is some gentleman from here who is building another clinic or some chain from the Bharat, what makes the difference? Is it communication at a digital level, marketing, branding, or having a on-ground presence? What creates trust for anyone to visit something which has some sort of an attribute which can take a toll on themselves, say health for that matter?
So I think accessibility is par. I mean, nothing can beat it. Obviously, see, with health, if you are driven through an episode, which is trauma, emergency, then you go to the nearest location available. You don't have much to choose whether it is tier 2 town or tier 1 town, we will try and reach out to the nearest possible place, because that time that's the golden hour that is passing by. So you need to save yourself. Now, when there is a planned healthcare event, whether it is for a tier 2 town, tier 3 town, or tier 1 town, people now would look at the share of voice that people have and what people are advocating. So the primary source of information is obviously always been friends and family. They are the ones who obviously guide you. They are the first source. So we'd go and ask them about if you are able to share your issues. Then they would tell you that certain things happened, and this is the doctor that I found very good, and he sits in this Apollo, or this is the place where he sits. So basically, that builds trust at the first level. Then the second source of trust comes after the treatment has been rendered and what's been the outcome. So this is the eventual journey for any patient. First, if it's the episode which is planned, or if it's the episode which is through an emergency. So either way, it'll get decided through the episode what kind of interaction we would have, whether accessibility will play a role, or whether it's the point that it's a planned event, so I can take my time, get some views in, and then try and do my diligence on the net, look at influencer videos, try and get a sense from my friends and family, and then accordingly I'll choose.
All right, makes sense. So they watch influencer videos on, say, WhatsApp, they watch influencer videos on YouTube, Snapchat, everything. I mean, AJ, so tell me one thing. When you have your audience who watch your content in lakhs of numbers, I'm sure you and your team would be also delving into the creator studios, seeing the analytics. And when you have a brand integration, say Century Mattress has done a brand integration with AJ, and then you have audiences from Telangana and Andhra. What sort of difference or distinction which you see when someone from rural India watches and consumes the content, and their behavior after watching it, in terms of, say, engaging with the content by putting likes or dislikes or commenting, saying that you took off money and then you are promoting this, or what is that you observe when you dive into the analytics of a branded content video? You have say, examples.
I don't know whether I can tell this without a filter, so I'm just. So if, let's say there is a brand that comes to me and I do a video. Firstly, it's not tier 2, tier 1, tier 3. If the brand integration is bad, you are bound to get hit. Because if that person feels that you're trying to push the product without a proper research, if you're not giving him the value added, if you're not letting him know that his value is being added by giving that 1 minute of his time in between the video that for another content that he clicked the video for, for that, again, because right now the topic is for tier 2 and tier 3. What I have, my reading regarding these two belts are, if you are able to win their trust, irrespective of the content, irrespective of the branding, outside of that, if you are able to win their trust in terms of your consistency, the way you deliver, aligning yourself with great brands, not giving misquotations, or, like sir just said, if there's a medical related thing, you just can't claim it just because they're giving additional money, These kind of things, if you keep on doing over a period of time, and then you integrate the brand properly, irrespective, I feel the tier 2, tier 3, like you said, are very well educated, and they understand each and everything that you're saying. And if the brand integration is good, I don't see the timeline dipping when there is an ad, because they align they are your loyal audience and they keep watching it. There might be a slight dip, but what I do in general is to maintain to check all these boxes. When I personally maintain a good relationship with the audience, irrespective, outside of the videos that I do in terms of the branded videos. And then I try to minimize them, do less of them, but do really good ones. Like Abhibus or Century or Heritage or Apollo. But then I only choose good ones, and I try to have a good relation with the audience. That's all. There's no rocket science. You don't have to jumble a lot of things and try to integrate so many things that make you look intellectual while you're trying to give pointers. But maintain that relationship. That's all I'd say. And don't miss, even if it's like an extra money that's coming your way, stop. because you need longevity as a creator. You have to be here.
Tier 3. Probably the metro, they will skip your video. Maybe they do their job, they go. But the tier 2, tier 3, they make hell out of you.
And they understand analytics better than tier 1, because a tier 1 might be doing other stuff, but these guys, they understand where is the brand integration, which point is he keeping, how long is the thing, and all these things.
Yeah, I think Puneet has something to say.
This is very interesting. So I just couldn't stop myself from buzzing in here. I think, see, what's happening is one trend that I've seen is that when you look at the content quality, and that makes a lot of difference. So you look at the content quality, say, majority of content in India is Hindi. You look at India as a country, obviously, because many more users are using Hindi. Followed by, say, Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu, because these are very strong hubs of content in general, because of the movie industries and everything. When I came here to Hyderabad, started looking at, content quality, I found Telugu quality of content was very, very, very poor. So if you do something good, little better than what is happening everywhere else, you'll get the views, you'll get the appreciation. You go to Odisha, even more, because there the content quality is even more poor. So it's also about your ability to judge the market content quality and play accordingly. So it's not just about tier 2, tier 3, it's the language content itself, which makes a lot of, and I'm sure a lot of panelists will agree with me that in Telugu, while the movie industry is quite big, but content creator wise, we struggle to find good content creators, and therefore, someone like AJ, I'm sure is laughing to the bank.
Brilliant. So is there anyone here who is coming from a rural background and has a brand or a service? Anyone? Oh, there's one. Okay.
Evolving customer needs.
Did anyone get the question? Anyone wants to answer that question?
And solve for it. So, for example, I'm telling you personally, anything coming out from village, and if you call it pure and healthy and good quality, free of pesticides, it is a trend right now. So that's a trend, and it's likely to continue because this is what we are consuming, and what goes inside makes up what we are, right? So I think if your answer is in your question itself, please understand the needs. You don't need to follow trends. You can create the trend yourself if you understand the needs well. And understanding the needs meaning meet the consumers. That's the fundamental start of the process.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have one more person raising the hand.
No, I just have one answer
Yeah.
to that, one more additional point to what Sir said. So one thing is connecting to the customer where you can go meet, talk to as many vivid customers as possible. And second is you can use tools like Amazon, Flipkart. You just go to their best sellers in the category you are present. You understand which are the top selling products in, let's say, in first 2-3 pages, you get to know which are the trends that are picking up very often. Like for example, organic coming into top 10, which technically is beating almost all the existing HULs and all of these, and coming into the top, that organic produce is like what customers are preferring today. So these can be small cues in the respective category you are operating in, try to look at best sellers categories in Flipkart and Amazon. That will give a very great idea about what consumers are looking for.
Sure, sir.
So I head the e-commerce for Century as well. So there is Walmart Vriddhi program, which is the government of India initiative. Walmart Vriddhi. Please do some research on that. They specifically develop this Walmart Vriddhi program through Flipkart only to support the rural entrepreneurship, the artisans. It only not help you to develop your market in India, but also abroad. So they give you the platform, and there are some benefits on the platform. They take zero commission. I mean, let me tell you, for us, it may be somewhere 18-20% of our business we pay. For you, it will be zero. They provide the marketing support. There are platforms such like this, what Prasanth mentioned. Do some research on that. Definitely you will get a bridge. I understood today your challenge is how to connect with them you are facing. And moreover, mobility is a big challenge from there to this.
Interactive for the audiences, but also as an inference. Maybe it can be used by anyone who is going to watch this video tomorrow in on the web or TV. So my question to each individual panelist is, and this is basically a phase where I will ask a question which basically is about what is the most fertile or going to be the next big rural first brand coming out of India. Which sector is going to have the next biggest paradigm shift from rural India? And once a panelist says that it is what it is, I would want from the audiences raise hands who agree to what he said. So my first question is to Puneet. Which sector, and this is the same question for everyone, which sector from rural Bharat, which comes out of rural Bharat, is going to be pivotal in the national growth and is going to be the biggest sector to create more brands, largest brands in the next 5 years?
Two sectors come to my mind, so I'll not restrict myself to one. One is the organic produce, whether it's milk or vegetables or any of the staples. So organic produce is one big segment. Not just India, globally everyone is looking for organic. There are certifications available. We should try and get, all the entrepreneurs in the room should do that. That's one. The second one is we are talking about is the art and craft. We are so rich in art and craft in rural India. And I think that art, which might get lost, can be revived using some of the brand building initiatives which can be done. And a lot of brands are already doing it. So these are the two sectors I believe can actually do that.
Lovely. Who all agree? There's just one gentleman who clapped his hands and stopped because no one is clapping. You can please clap. It's okay. People will join. Right. Who agrees to what Puneet has said?
In a brand, right? Today you see Sugna brand, Ram Reddy, I don't know, there are Vencop, so many brands are there. I mean, personally, I'm very, intuited to know, our audience can answer, any mutton brand available or meat, red meat brand? Do you remember? Do you think there is a vacuum? Do you know there is a challenges? So this is a big thing. And for exports, this is one of the big segment, food processing, especially the meat processing. Today in rural India, the sheep or goat farming, YouTube videos, everybody seeing doing that, but they are limiting themselves there. What next after that to the consumer? The processing of meat, I think that is going to be the big, not only in aqua also. Like I said, you don't find a fish brand You don't find the fish, whatever, the food processing, even in the aqua, this thing, or the red meat. I think this is going to be the big boom, which is untouched till now. Maybe I did some research, there are some challenges, but definitely the industry will overcome this challenge. I think there is big opportunity, because if everybody feel there is nothing available, nobody has answer, that means that is the opportunity. Yeah.
How many of you agree to this? Okay. Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. I think probably 5 of them. Next, Prashant. I don't know. I mean, they might kick me out now. Is that okay? Yeah, please go ahead. They've given up on us.
Sir, regarding meat, we are into rapid meat testing. We are supplying Indian Armed Forces with rapid, the kits that detects freshness in chicken and mutton within 10 minutes. And as you said, the meat industry is growing. I'm totally agree with that, because I myself researched before getting into this industry, because that industry is growing. That's why I get into it. And right now we are getting clients from Hyderabad, Chennai, and this belt, because I'm based out of Karnal, Haryana. But definitely what you said, that meat industry is growing across these rural areas, that is going on. And that's why I went into this segment where I do the rapid testing for freshness. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, yeah, thank you. Prashant.
I think anything farm produce, I feel there is a huge potential, because coming from a farmer family, I still understand there is a lot of middlemen which eat up majority of the margin there. So I think to make it sustainable, I would say direct to the consumer. Like earlier, a lady has pointed out something she is working on. So those kind of brands would definitely have a lot of reach and trust. And secondly, anything which isn't sustainable, like for example, nowadays we see that bamboo kind of products getting picked up. So these are very native practices we have in a lot of remote places in India, which need to be evoked and brought into practice. I think these also have a huge future.
How many agree? Okay, there are 2 hands by 1 person. It's great. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you can some acquisition talks. Okay. AJ.
My answer might not be a particular specific brand in general, because sector in general. But what I feel is it applies to everything. And I feel that Bharat needs its own social media in a way where people can interact with each other, people can sell to each other. A person from Bharat can have a brand, and that brand can directly reach through an own homegrown Indian Bharat original social media app. That might be a game changer for the entire tier 2, tier 3 sector, is what I feel, being from the industry.
Well, that's a strong point. How many agree? So own social media for Bharat. Okay, great. 10, almost 10. Last, Nishant.
Of course. So, like my fellow panelists have said, that one unique product. See, we are all today ordering from home, right? Sitting here, everything gets delivered to home, and it's all packaged in, let's say, polythene or something like that. I think where the rural industry has power or tremendous power is to get into alternate packaging, which can be recyclable. And that can become a household thing, because it will reach everybody, right? With the kind of e-commerce that is booming today. So alternate packaging, long time back, jute was something that was available to us as an alternative to plastic, which has died down in lots of areas. I believe alternate packaging will just be as same as alternate fuel. It will be that important.
Great. Alternate packaging. Who agrees? Strongly agree. Oh my goodness, you have a lot of fans now. Perfect. So I want to close this session. So the final, understanding out of this particular session, and I also want the young people who are also sitting behind and also paying a lot of attention. I hope this particular session of say close to about an hour helps in deciding your future course of action, your trajectory of career, and most importantly, the sectors which at the end we were discussing, which could become the next big thing in the rural of India, emanating out of rural of India, is say organic produce, and then arts, crafts, and we have meat, then we have same organic stuff related to the produce, and then the social media, Bharat social media, and alternate packaging. So I hope all these keywords would definitely help in your decision making for the future. Thank you very much for being a part of this session. See you. Thank you.